Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. The first round of the NFL Draft is in the books, so I thought I'd cook up a Day 2 mock draft for the Chicago Bears. They did not trade into round 1 as expected and make any picks tonight, as Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, and the Bears staff was kind of just hanging out tonight at Hallis Hall, presumably, but the Bears still have some picks to make, 6 picks in total. Now, on this mock draft, we'll just focus in rounds 2 and rounds 3, pick number 39, number 48, number 71, but the Bears also have 148, 150, and 186 on Day 3 of the NFL Draft. So with that being said, we'll get into my Day 2 mock momentarily, but first, name a player that you want the Bears to draft. I want to hear it from you guys. Still some big names out there at some key positions. Name one guy that you want the Bears to draft on Friday night. All right, with my first selection here at pick number 39, I get Andrew Booth Jr., the cornerback out of Clemson, which I was a little bit surprised, actually, that he got out of the first round. Because I thought he would go in round 1. This is simply a best player available selection by me. That's what I opted to go with here. There were a couple of receivers that were still on the board. Sky Moore and George Pickens were available. But I said, you know what? Booth is my highest rated guy, and cornerback is a position that the Bears need to upgrade. So they could certainly select one here at number 39 overall if he does fall. Here are some scouting notes on him from our guy Tom Downey, our draft analyst here at Chat Sports. Good size, good ball skills as well, good athlete, plays aggressively, which I don't mind because he would probably come in and be your CB2 opposite of Jalen Johnson. I'm okay if my second outside corner takes some chances. Needs to get better as a tackler, but you know, that's okay. I don't need my corners to be incredible in that regard. Tavon Young's a good tackler. Johnson's a pretty decent tackler. So if that's not Booth's calling card, that's okay, especially if he's getting pass breakups and getting some interceptions as well. I think he's a starter right away in the NFL, and if you get him at 39, that's pretty damn good value. Now, the Bears are going to be busier tomorrow or tonight, depending on when you're watching. It is already Friday morning. It's past midnight Central Time. So tonight, Friday night, we will break down every single Bears draft pick. So hit that big red button and subscribe. Plus, we plan on going live in round 2, barring a trade or something happening. They pick at 39. We'll probably in 48, so we'll probably go live around pick 35, 36. Subscribe. Join us. We'll break it all down for you guys. YouTube.com/Bears Now. Do not miss any of our Bears draft coverage here on the channel. Now, Downey's best available. Again, Tom Downey, our draft expert. These are his top 8 guys. We'll just take a look at these guys. Nakobe Dean, the Georgia linebacker. Still on the board. There are some medical question marks there potentially. Breece Hall, the Iowa State running back, he's not a guy the Bears would take. Roger McCreary, the Auburn corner, he could be a guy that the Bears could get if he falls to 39 or 48. Sky Moore, the receiver out of Western Michigan. Baylor defensive back Jalen Petrie, another running back in Kenneth Walker, then Arnold Ebiketie, the edge out of Penn State. Again, I went with Andrew Booth Jr., who is Downey's 4th best player available. And if you were to draft him, that's your CB2. Jalen Johnson, CB1. Andrew Booth, CB2. Tavon Young's your nickel. And then Thomas Graham, Kendall Vilder, Duke Shelley, and these guys can compete for backup roles, special teams, and just overall depth as the Bears look to round out their 53-man roster later on into the fall. So grade the pick of Andrew Booth at number 39 if the Bears make this selection. Type A, B, C, D, or F. I think it's a pretty good grade. Good player, round 1 type of guy that you could get early in round 2. I think a lot of you guys will like this one. George Pickens still on the board at number 48. The reason I didn't take him at 39 is there were a couple of receivers left still. So I said, you know what? 9 picks later, decent chance one of these guys will fall, and Pickens was still on the board. Now, we'll see if that actually happens on Friday night. Obviously, mock draft simulators, which we're using the Pro Football Network simulator, much different than the real deal. But as you guys saw on Thursday night in round 1, weird things happen. Cole Strange went in the first round. Tyler Smith, which, hey, I didn't want Tyler Smith, so sayonara. There he goes to Dallas. But we'll see if Pickens is there at 48. He may not be there at 39. You just never know. I think he has wide receiver 1 potential. That's something I've talked about quite a bit. He's had some injury history. Apparently, there's some red flags of character concerns. It's kind of vague what those are. Is he a bad teammate? Does he have bad work ethic? I don't know. It's kind of vague when you read that stuff, so I don't know how much of that is true. It's up to Ryan Poles and this staff to do their homework and figure that out. But I think if he's there at 48, the value's too good to pass up. You look at the depth chart. You've got Darnell Mooney, who you feel good about. You know, Byron Pringle had his legal issue here. I think that'll be okay, but he's still not a wide receiver 2. You slide him back to wide receiver 3. Pickens is your number 2 outside guy. Pringle's your slot. St. Brown, Newsome, and some of these other guys can be depth pieces. Maybe you add a receiver on day 3 as well. I like the idea of George Pickens in round 2. Now, I've gone corner receiver, so no O-line help yet, but 8 offensive linemen went off the board in round 1. You know, you can't force it. You have to let the draft come to you. Now, we will be live for rounds 2 and 3 on Chat Sports, youtube.com/chatsportstv. You'll probably see me more in round 3 over there because I'll be live over here on Bears Now in the second round, but Tom Downey will have you covered. Chase Sr. will probably kick things off with him as well. So subscribe over there. Join us for draft picks breakdown of every selection, including, oh my God, it sounds like I'm drunk. I swear I'm not. Including the Bears picks as well, but we'll have you covered here on this channel in more detail. Rounds 2 and 3 starting 6 o'clock Eastern on Friday night. All right, round 3, pick number 71, Bernhard Raimann, the offensive lineman out of Central Michigan, is the selection here. And kind of like Pickens, I don't know if he'll fall to 71, but in this mock draft he did, so we'll see. And if he's there, I think the value is pretty damn good. Really good athlete as a former tight end. Crazy story came out of Austria, found his way at Central Michigan, was a tight end. Beefed up, moved to tackle. Decent blocker, good hand usage, needs to add more weight, but he's still learning the position. He can still grow out that frame as well. He's certainly still raw as a offensive lineman, but the value is really good at 71. I think it's possible this guy's a starter. Now, is he a day 1 plug-and-play starter as a rookie? I'm not sure, and if he is he a tackle? Is he a left or right tackle? Can you play him at guard as a rookie? I think those are things you'd have to figure out. But in round 3, if you can get a guy with upper echelon starting potential, I think the value is worth it at that point for the Chicago Bears. Look, if the draft falls this way, you probably are going to have to sign at least one other offensive lineman anyway in free agency. So maybe you draft Raimann, maybe you sign Eric Fisher, and you go and see what you got. Would you like this pick of Bernhard Raimann at 71? Type L for like, type D for dislike. I think the value is really good. If you can get him there early on in the 3rd round, I think it's going to be hard to pass up. Now, obviously, what I posed earlier, where does he plug in? I know this. You need to upgrade at right guard from Dakota Dozier. He is not a starting caliber player. Can he play guard? Can he play tackle? Borum kicks into guard. Could you sign a guard after the draft like Trey Turner, someone like that, to be a 1-year stopgap option? I think that those are all options that are certainly on the table. You could sign Eric Fisher to be your left tackle as well. Period. The Bears need help on the O-line. That's obvious. So we'll see what they do in the draft to shore up that position. We'll see what comes after free agency. But I think I did pretty well here with the 3 players I got. What's your favorite pick in this mock draft? Type ABJ for Andrew Booth Jr., type GP for George Pickens, type BR for Bernhard Raimann, Booth Jr. at 39, Pickens at 48, and then Raimann at 71. Get your votes in and let me know what your favorite pick is. Now, that's my mock draft. I wanted to just take a quick look at the best players available at a couple of key positions. Can we go 8 guys here too, Jeremy? We'll do 4 more after this at wide receiver. Sky Moore, the Western Michigan receiver, we'll see if he's available at 39 or 48. Same with George Pickens. Same with Christian Watson. I think, all 3 of those guys will be gone before 71. Could Alec Pierce fall to 71? Maybe. If he could, I would love that option. You get to Jalen Tolbert, John Mechie after that. I think those are guys at 71 I would like. Maybe Mechie at 48, but I would prefer round 3. Calvin Austin, David Bell, really only options at 71 as well. You take a look at some of the top corners available. You've got Roger McCreary, who I think is more of a nickel out of Auburn. Andrew Booth, who I selected in this mock. Kyler Gordon's out there too. I mean, you think about those first 3 corners right there. The Bears pick 7 on day 2. all three of those corners aren't going in the first 6 picks. So, in theory, you should be able to pick one of those corners if you want to go that route. Top offensive tackles available. Abraham Lucas, I like him. I don't know if I like him at 39 or 48. Same with Raimann. I guess at 48 you could talk me into him. Falele and Petit Frere, I think they're round 3 type of guys at the end. Interior guys, Darian Kennard, who has some tackle experience. He's a guy I'm interested in. Jamari Salyer out of Georgia. I think he has a chance to start at guard as a rookie. Ed Ingram, I don't know if I take him in the 3rd round. He's probably more of a 4th round guy, so maybe if you trade down, that's a name to monitor as well. So there you go, my Bears Day 2 mock draft and some players to keep in mind that are still available at some key positions for the Bears. Make sure you guys subscribe, youtube.com/BearsNow. Again, we will be live for the round 2 picks for Chicago tomorrow, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Subscribe and join us, and we will see you then here on Bears Now.